Just Capital launching a multi-year tracker to hold companies accountable on their commitments to advance racial equity. The first iteration of this tracker taking a look at the 100 largest employers in the Russell 1000 and found this group 18 companies ranging from Amazon, Apple, Citigroup, and Starbucks to have at least one disclosure that addresses what Just Capital calls all 6 dimensions of racial equity. Joining us right now is Yusuf George, Managing Director of Corporate Engagement at Just Capital. It's great to see Yusuf. We were just having a conversation about voting rights, but so much of this is intertwined with what's happening in the way that investors are looking at companies and ESG issues, and it's something that it's what Just Capital is doing, which is trying to index and trying to create some real metrics around this. What did you find?
So I'll start with this. Our mission at Just Capital is to build a more just economy that works for all Americans. And the American public, the majority of them, believe that corporations play a defining role in shaping our nation. So everything that you were talking about, from protecting and upholding democracy to creating a more just form of capitalism, about 70% of Americans believe that it's important that corporate leaders take a stand on important social issues. So what we've done is we've created a tracker that really shows how the 100 largest companies in America are following through on their diversity and equity commitments.
And that's their diversity and equity commitment, we should say, internally, in terms of numbers inside the company, what they say publicly, or is this about speaking out, in fact, on some of these issues? How do you define that?
So what we're doing is we're looking across 6 different domains of racial equity, things like pay equity data, racial and ethnic diversity data, community investments, response to mass incarceration. So we're looking across those 6 different dimensions, which are a lot of workplace issues and community-related issues.
Can I ask a question? We have sort of 2 schools of thought on this, and we hear from a lot of viewers. We have some viewers who say this stuff is great, and I care about these issues, and I'm looking at this data. And then I get viewers who say, Sorkin, what are you doing? Just tell us about the economics of these companies. This data is not relevant to my decision to make an investment today. What are you finding?
Well, I don't think that that's necessarily true. We know that 14 of the largest institutional investors are calling on companies to disclose demographic data. What we've seen by assessing the 100 largest American companies is they're really good at disclosing what we like to call sort of baseline DEI policies, things like anti-harassment or equal employment opportunity, but they're not so great at showcasing actions that show accountability towards their progress, things like pay equity data, things like setting diverse hiring targets. So what we're doing is we're calling on companies to be transparent in the same way institutional investors are asking for this information.
And so we're going to see that. I think there's going to be a big debate because we're at proxy season, and there's a number of big campaigns going on at some of the largest companies in America over these issues. And in most cases, and I don't know if this is surprising or not, the companies are actually pushing back. They're usually telling their investor base to vote against proposals that require more disclosure. Yet at the same time, and this goes to what maybe Joe is saying, there is a lot of virtue signaling in this, which is people are saying, yes, we care about these issues, but no, we actually don't want to disclose the data. Is Just joining any of these campaigns for more disclosure?
So yes, I think part of our work is incentivizing companies to be transparent on this data. Look, we understand that it's important that workers, that customers, that investors have access to information so that they can help to make investment decisions on things like this. We've seen that companies who disclose more workforce demographic data actually outperform in the markets versus those who don't. So This data is actually very important. And we know that this proxy season, issues of climate and diversity, equity, and inclusion are going to be the 2 most important things on the ballot.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.